This lesson is about divisibility and factors. Your reference pages are pages 172 to 175. In this section, we're going to learn a lot of rules about divisibility so that you can easily find out whether a number is divisible by another number. For example, the number, an integer is divisible by 2 if it ends in 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8, which are all, of course, even numbers. And so any number that ends in 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8 is divisible by 2. An integer is divisible by 5 if it ends in 0 or 5, and it's divisible by 10 if it ends in 0. But there are other numbers that have similar rules. For example, number 3. If the sum of the digits is divisible by 3. So here's an example. The number 282 is divisible by 3 because 2 plus 8 is 10, and 10 plus 2 is 12, and 12 is divisible by 3. So that number is divisible by 3. A similar rule applies to 9. If the sum of the digits is divisible by 9, then the number is divisible by 9. So for example, 468. 4 plus 6 is 10, plus 8 is 18. And 18 is divisible by 9. Therefore, the number 468 is divisible by 9. So those are some easy things that you can check. Now, you're going to be doing an activity in your book to figure out if a number, an integer, is divisible by 4, and I want you to figure out that rule and write it in here, and I'll be looking for that in your notes. Now, from divisibility, what we're looking at is factors, and if you'll remember, a factor is an integer that divides another integer with no remainders. So in other words, when those numbers are multiplied together, you get a product. So we're going to look at finding the factors of different numbers. When you go to find the factors, there's really no easy way. You just kind of have to think about what you know, and I always start this way. If I'm looking for all the factors of, say, 60, well, we know that every number has a factor of 1 and itself. So that's the way I start. Then I think, okay, this one's divisible by 2, and 2 times 30 would make that. And it's divisible by 3 because 6 plus 0 is 6, and 6 is divisible by 3. So it'd be 3 would go in there, and it would go 20 times. So 20 is a factor. And is it divisible by 4? Well, I happen to know it is divisible by 4, even though I'm not telling you the rule. And 4 times 15 is 60. Is it divisible by 5? Yes, because 5, it ends in 0, so it has to be divisible by 5. And we know that 5 times 12 is 60. And is it divisible by 6? Yes, 6 times 10 is 60. So we've got just about as far as we can go because it's not divisible by 7, 8, or 9. But that's the simplest way that you can figure out what the factors are. It's just basically what numbers you multiply together to get an integer. So turn off the video right now, go to page 174 and do 1 through 13. Then turn the video back on and I'll correct with you. All right, we're looking at page 174, 1 through 13. And in the first part, it asks you to just determine what numbers each of these integers is divisible by. And so for 20, it followed the rule. It ended in 0, so we knew 2 would work. It ended in 0, so we knew 5 would work. And it ended in 0, so we knew 10 would work. Number 37 was not divisible by 2, 3, 5, 9, or 10. And I can tell you that that is a prime number. And if you remember, that means that it's only divisible by 1 and itself. Number 45, 4 plus 5 is 9. So that makes it divisible by both 3 and 9. Because 9 is divisible by 3 and 9. And it ends in a 5, so that means 5. It's also divisible by 5. 99, and 9 and 9 is 18, both divisible by 3 and 9, so we know that works. 240 is divisible by 2 and 5 and 10 because it ends in a 0, and it's divisible by 3 because 2 plus 4 is 6 plus 0 is 6, and 6 is divisible by 3. And 333 is divisible by 3 and 9 because 3 plus 3 is 6 plus 3 is 9, and 9 is divisible by 3 and 9. Then it gives you an opportunity in number 7 to discover something new about divisibility. It asks you to find the two numbers that were divisible by both 2 and 3. So when we added them up, we found that 6 and 6 is 12, so it was divisible by 3, and it ends in an even number, so it was divisible by 2. So was 4,710. And then 4 plus 10 is 11, and 1 is 12. So both those numbers were divisible by both 2 and 3. Then it asks you to find out what numbers were divisible by 6. And I'm sure that you took 6 and used your typical division, and you found out that only 66 and 4,710 were both divisible by 6. So then it says, take what you know from A and B and make up a rule about 6. So you should have written something like, an integer is divisible by 6 if it is divisible by both 2 and 3. And you should be able to go and check that out with 240 and other numbers as well. See if they're divisible by both 2 and 3, then they're divisible by 6. The last thing it asks you to do is to do factoring. And so it asks you to do the positive factors. And you missed looking at all of that. But I'll show it to you now. Okay. The positive factors for some numbers. So again, all you can do is test them out, and you'll pretty much come to them. But the factors for 8 are 1, 2, 4, and 8. 16, 1, 2, 4, 8, and 16. 23 is a prime number, so its only factors are 1 and itself. 54 is 1, 2, 3, 6, 9, 18, 27, and 54. 75 is 1, 3, 5, 15, 25, and 75. And 68 is 1, 2, 4, 17, 34, and 68. That's your lesson on divisibility and factors. You have homework, classwork to complete tomorrow. You'll be doing page 174 and 175, 15 through 25 odd, number 26, 31 through 47 odd, and 57 through 60 all. If you need any more help with this or have any more questions, I will talk to you tomorrow in class. Have a good evening.